From New Delhi, you're watching India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Israel says Rafah operation to continue until Hamas destroys or first hostage is returned. Hamas warns no ceasefire deal if military operation on Rafah continues. Adult film star Stormy Daniels testifies for the first time in Donald Trump's hush money trial. Witness testimony to continue on Thursday. World's record-breaking temperature streak extends through April. Abnormally warm conditions experienced despite continued weakening of El Nino effect. Borussia Dortmund enters their third Champions League final by a 2-0 aggregate win over Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday. Negotiations towards a ceasefire deal resumed in Cairo after Israeli delegation, Hamas officials, mediators from Qatar and Central Intelligence Agency Director William Burns arrived in the Egyptian capital on Tuesday. All the 5 delegations participating in the ceasefire talks on Tuesday reacted positively to the resumption of negotiations. Talks are expected to continue on Wednesday morning. Hamas on Monday said that it had agreed to a ceasefire pact that would involve an exchange of hostages abducted by the group on October 7th for Palestinian prisoners in Israel. But the group added conditions that Israel hadn't approved, including a complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Hamas has since offered some amendments to their Monday proposal. Meanwhile, Hamas leader Osama Hamdan warned in a press conference in Beirut that if Israel's military aggression continues in Rafah, there will be a no ceasefire deal.
If the aggression continues, there will be no ceasefire because Israelis are the ones attacking and shooting. It is normal for the resistance to respond to this aggression, to respond in defense and to respond in order to defeat the occupation.
Israeli on its hand said that it will continue its operation in Rafah until Hamas forces in the area are destroyed or terrorist hands over one of the Israeli hostages it still holds. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant visited Rafah area on Tuesday and met the commanders and soldiers operating there.
This operation will continue until we eliminate Hamas in the Rafah area and the entire Gaza Strip or until the first hostage returns. We are willing to make compromises in order to bring back hostages. But if that option is removed, we will go on and deepen the operation. This will happen all over the Strip, in the south, in the center and in the north. We know that Hamas only responds to force.
The United States said it has been told that the Kerem Shalom crossing into Gaza will reopen on Wednesday. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre said on Tuesday that Israel has committed to reopening the Kerem Shalom. One of the 2 main entryways for aid into Gaza, along with the Rafah crossing, Kerem Shalom, remained closed on Tuesday. The U.S. pressed for reopening of both Rafah and Kerem Shalom crossings to facilitate humanitarian aid.
Israel has committed to reopening the Kerem Shalom. That's a conversation, as you all know, from the readout that the president had with the Prime Minister of Israel, and we want to make sure that we get that done. We've been told that that's going to happen tomorrow. We are working to move that up. Fuel deliveries through Rafah should also commence tomorrow. That's what we've been told. And we believe Rafah border crossing should also be quickly reopened for the movement of humanitarian assistance. We are insisting that there should be no disruptions of humanitarian assistance flows.
A Russian attack on Ukraine damaged several facilities in a strike targeting energy infrastructure across the country, Ukraine's military and energy officials said on Wednesday. Ukraine's national grid operator Ukrenergo said that the equipment at one of its facilities in central Ukraine was damaged. In the central Poltava region, an energy infrastructure facility was hit by a drone attack, sparking a fire. Also, according to preliminary information, there were no casualties. Governors of Vinnytsia and Zaporizhzhia regions said separately that critical civilian infrastructure facilities were damaged. All missiles targeting Kyiv were destroyed. According to local authorities, there was no major damage or injuries as a result of the attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Tuesday that the island nation of Cape Verde had become the first African country to agree to attend a World Peace Summit aimed at finding a solution to Ukraine's more than two-year-old war against Russia. The summit, to which Russia has not been invited, is to take place in Switzerland on 15th and 16th of June, and Ukraine hopes to marshal broad support to persuade Moscow to agree to the terms that Kyiv deems acceptable. The president, who made a brief stopover in Cape Verde last year on his way to Argentina, also mentioned the conversation in his nightly address as a step in organizing the June gathering.
Коротко про цей день. Перший фронт.
Every continent will be represented at our summit in Switzerland. Different nations, small or large, those who have clearly shown their support for international law and those who will do so.
З військовими провів окремо.
The adult film star Stormy Daniels testified in a Manhattan court about her alleged relations with former President Donald Trump, which he denies. She also spoke about the hush money she received to keep quiet about it. Trump is facing charges of falsifying business records before the 2016 election and has entered a plea of not guilty to 34 charges. DD India's correspondent Sally Patterson gets us more details.
Speaking to reporters outside a Manhattan courthouse, Donald Trump once again slammed the so-called hush money case he's at the center of. He said that the case is totally falling apart. That's at the end of a day of explosive testimony from adult film star Stormy Daniels. She claims to have met Donald Trump in 2006 at a golf tournament, and she said she was invited to his hotel room where they had dinner together, and then she says they had a sexual encounter. Donald Trump has repeatedly denied ever having a relationship with Daniels. Now, at the heart of this case is how that payment, which was later made to Stormy Daniels in order to keep quiet about that alleged affair, was filed. Michael Cohen, who was once Trump's lawyer and fixer, allegedly paid $130,000 to Daniels to keep quiet about that affair. Then Trump's team allegedly paid back that money to Cohen and filed it as legal expenses. The prosecution alleges that that was illegal and shouldn't have happened. Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 different criminal counts of falsifying business records and says that this is a politically motivated attack by his opponents to try and keep him out of the White House. Sally Patterson in New York reporting for DD India.
Meanwhile, Trump's classified documents trial has been indefinitely postponed. The trial is underway in Florida on charges of illegally keeping classified documents after leaving office. Previously, he was scheduled to go to trial on May 20th. The judge, however, scheduled pre-trial hearings to run through July 22nd. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 40 federal counts. The development greatly reduces the odds he will face a jury in either of the two federal criminal cases against him before the November 5th US election. The world just experienced its hottest April on record, extending an 11th month streak in which each month was the hottest recorded month on record, says the EU. Scientists have already confirmed climate change caused weather extremes in April, including heat waves in Asian countries. In April, the world's average temperature reached 1.61 degrees Celsius, above the average of 1850 to 1900 pre-industrial period record. Recognizing the urgent need for action, experts have expressed the alarming needs to monitor and take call for climate crisis. More weather updates from across the globe now. Southern Brazil has been hit by worst floods in more than 80 years, with at least 90 people dead, over 130 people still missing, and 150,000 homeless. Also, a plane and runway remain underwater after heavy rains lashed the city of Porto Alegre, while the Beira Rio Stadium was turned into a muddy pool. Flooding from storms has destroyed roads and bridges in several cities while triggering landslides and the partial collapse of a dam at a small hydroelectric power plant. Weather conditions improved, but showers are expected to return at lower volumes later this week and could pick up again between May 10th and 15th. Brazil's football giants, including Neymar, Vinicius Jr. and Ronaldinho, are rallying behind a fundraising effort for victims of the devastating floods in the country. Former Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain forward Neymar shared a video on Tuesday showing his private jet being filled with crates of water bottles and other supplies. Using their huge social media presence, the stars of Brazil's most popular sport have joined hands with local club players who have used their own jet skis to help people escape water that have completely inundated the entire towns. Neymar also endorsed a call for donations led by Brazilian Football Confederation, saying helping is never too much. Japan is trying to fight wildfires. Helicopters continue to pour water on the mountains around Nanyo City in Yamagata Prefecture to douse the flames that ignited on May 4th. Over 135 hectares of forest land affected due to wildfire. Over 400 residents living in 2 districts near the site of the fire have been ordered to evacuate. The cause of the bushfire is currently under investigation, but authorities in Nanyo City attributed dry weather to the spread of the fire. In India's hilly state of Uttarakhand, forest fire continues to rage. Air Force chopper on Tuesday resumed its operation on the second day to douse the forest fire near Advani village in Pauri Garhwal district. The operation was delayed due to thick smoke which engulfed the town of Srinagar. As forest fires continue to pose a serious threat, the state government has banned burning of crop residue and stubble in the fields with immediate effect and has warned legal action. Taking note of the raging forest fire, Supreme Court will hear the cases against the origin of the forest fires. Over 1,000 hectares of forest land has been destroyed across Uttarakhand since November last year. The combined impact of climate change and humans are proving double trouble for wild urban dwelling bird species in Australia. Australia is vulnerable to the effects of global warming projected for the next 50 to 100 years because of its extensive arid and semi-arid areas and already warm climate, affecting not just the birds but also all of the wildlife. It is crucial for conservation efforts to address these dual challenges to protect biodiversity. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. A Rio museum that was engulfed by fire has received a massive donation of fossils for rebuilding its collection for the public. Now, a donation of over 11,000 Brazil fossils is helping to bring the museum back to life. Among the donated pieces are dinosaur skeletons that experts say provide unique insight into paleontology in South America. John Krasinski says he made his new film If for his children. The live action and animated fantasy comedy is written and directed by Krasinski, who also plays the main character's father and voices the character Marshmallow in the movie. The imaginary friend fantasy film If starts its global cinematic rollout on 8th of May. You're watching DD India Live. Up next, we're heading for a short break. But after the break, breaking down the barriers, man without hands gets a 4-wheeler license in Chennai. Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Lucknow Super Giants in Hyderabad today. Drone and fireworks display celebrated the imminent arrival of the Olympic flame in Marseille's Old Port.
Tracking the 4th phase of general elections, Team Poll Pulse has reached Telangana, the youngest state of India. Here in capital Hyderabad is being witnessed a high voltage contest Four-time MP Asaduddin Owaisi of AIMIM is challenged by Madhavi Lata of the BJP. Congress and the BRS are also in the fray.
It's very important youth makes the correct choice and votes for the right person.
अगर वोटिंग करते हैं तो अपने मतलब का गवर्नमेंट लेके आ सकते हैं.
स्थिर सरकार आने से प्रोग्रेस बढ़ेगा भारत सरकार का.
Join us as we track the pulse of Indian democracy. Watch Poll Pulse on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live, and now we'll get to the latest on the world's largest democratic election that's happening in India. Campaigning for the fourth phase of Lok Sabha elections scheduled for May 13 gains momentum as political leaders are holding rallies and roadshows across the nation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi kicked off his election campaign in Telangana after offering prayers at Sri Raja Rajeshwara Swami Temple. Prime Minister held rallies in Karimnagar. He said opposition in Telangana has already accepted defeat as people have decided to bless the BJP with record numbers. After Karimnagar, Prime Minister will also hold a public meeting in Warangal. Other political parties are also leaving no stone unturned to garner support for their candidates. Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi will campaign in Hyderabad, which is scheduled to go to polls on May 13th. To seek votes in parties' favour, Samajwadi Party Supremo Akhilesh Yadav will hold public meeting in Uttar Pradesh's Farrukhabad. Repolling is underway in Dudhwa Khurd village in Rajasthan's Barmer Lok Sabha constituency following the complaints made about the breach of secrecy during polling in the second phase on April 26. Repolling will be held till 5 in the evening for 1,294 voters registered at the polling station. India's northern city of Srinagar is scheduled to go to polls on May 13th. Parties like National Conference, PDP, Apni Party and DPAP are in fray to win the parliamentary seat. Our correspondent Rama Tyagi gets us more in this report.
Different political parties of Jammu and Kashmir are in fray, seeking to bag Srinagar's seat in the upcoming general elections. As National Conference Party's chairperson Omar Abdullah will contest election from Baramulla seat, the party has fielded Shia leader Aga Rahullah from Srinagar.
Public response is very good. You must have seen people participating in voting. If it were normal elections, I would say there is enthusiasm. But this time, along with enthusiasm, sentiments are also attached.
Similarly, People's Democratic Party has placed its bet on its youth wing president Wahid Rahman Parra.
We are clear that we are talking for people of Kashmir. That's our alliance, that's our coalition. Rest, everybody is fighting against us.
While Apni Party has given ticket to former Minister Mohammad Ashraf Mir, Democratic Progressive Azad Party is fielding Amir Ahmed Bhatt.
It's a very good response. Like, you have been waiting here since 1 hour. I was in meetings for the whole day. I was in Pulwama, I was in Harwan, I was in Nishat, and still I have a meeting left. So Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy that there's a good response from the people.
Whereas BJP asserted that although the party has not fielded its candidate, but any party in power will be in coalition with BJP.
हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी साहब ने जो काम किए
The work that Modi ji has done is commendable. There was a time when there was many difficulties in Jammu and Kashmir, but now there is a peace, tranquility and development. That's why I'm saying everyone here is going to vote for Modi ji.
भाईचारा है, development है.
Amidst all the claims, the common man, especially youth, has also become quite vocal about the issues, as this time there are a total of 1,740,000 voters, out of which 200,000 are first-time voters.
बहुत तरक्की के लिए है.
My vote is for the accountability, for the construction of roads, streets, lanes, bridges and schools. Until we elect someone in the parliament and assembly, things will remain the same. It is necessary to vote.
It is very important to vote.
I am happy this time that I am going to vote for the first time. We should vote for the one who will work for the people.
A total of 24 candidates are in the electoral battle for the Srinagar parliamentary seat that will go to the polls on May 13. Rama Tyagi for DD India.
Remembering Rabindranath Tagore on his 163rd birth anniversary, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to Gurudev Tagore on his social media handle. Prime Minister highlighted Gurudev's enduring wisdom and genius, which continues to inspire and enlighten innumerable people across the generations. Indian parliamentarians, including Lok Sabha Speaker, also paid floral tributes to Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore on the occasion of his 163rd birth anniversary at the Old Parliament building in the national capital. Bangladesh President Mohammad Shahabuddin also paid tributes to Gurudev, saying his songs, literature and work ethic have constantly inspired people of the country. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in her message said Bengali poetry, songs, short stories, novels, essays, dramas, Giti Natyo and Nrityo Natyo have found completeness in Rabindranath Tagore's magical hands. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India now. 18 underprivileged students clench history by passing the JEE Phase 2 exam. The core catalyst behind this achievement was the coaching provided at Petronet Super 30, a noble initiative spearheaded by the Indian Army's White Knight Corps. A 30-year-old amputee from Chennai who lost both of his hands broke down barriers and became the first person in Tamil Nadu to obtain a driving license. Tansen, who was an inspiration to others, lost his hands due to an electrical accident during his childhood. Tansen uses his legs to operate his car. Let's take a look at sports updates now. Borussia Dortmund entered the Champions League final by a 2-0 aggregate win over Paris Saint-Germain on Tuesday. Dortmund showed great composure to reach their third Champions League final and first since 2013 after Mats Hummel's second half goal earned a 1-0 victory on the night. Dortmund will now meet either 14 times champions Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, who clash at Bernabeu on Wednesday after a 2-each draw in the first leg. The final showdown is on June 1st at Wembley. Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Lucknow Super Giants in the 55th match of the Indian Premier League in Hyderabad today. It is a must-win game for both the teams, as any loss here at this stage would only dent further the hopes of making it to the playoffs. Both teams have notched up 12 points from 11 games so far, and whichever team wins the game will hold the edge over the other. The Olympic flame is set to arrive in the French port of Marseille on Wednesday in front of a crowd of up to 150,000 people. The transfer of the flame on shore from a 19th century tall ship will mark the start of a 12,000-kilometer torch relay across mainland France and the country's far-flung overseas territories. Organizers are excited for the first public spectacle of their much-hyped iconic Olympics, which are just 79 days away now. The Olympic torch journey began after being lit on April 16th in ancient Olympia. The torch was then carried around Greece before leaving Athens aboard a 3-mast ship named Bellum. More than 800 drones formed different shapes over the Mediterranean city's viewport to celebrate the upcoming arrival of the Olympic flame at Marseille's Old Port in southern France, where the Olympic torch is set to land on Wednesday. right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.